So we've done a bunch of great work getting this app functioning on our device. We've been able to pull in maps, use the online base map. We've used the Avenza store to import maps, and we've even brought in maps from outside agencies and imported them. On those maps, we've been able to place layers, and we've been able to divide those and organize those layers in a way that makes sense for our organization and keeps our map nice and neat and clean. And now we've got all this information, which is super useful for us, but also very useful for other people. So now we're going to want to try and share this information. So there's a couple ways that you can go around to sharing map information, but I'm going to show you one here that I find the easiest. Now we're talking about the first element that we can share for people is the layers themselves that have all of this data on all of these points. So one method we can do that is open our map with the layers active that we want to share. We can click on the layer button. We see here we've got these layers. There's 3 dots here. You might have seen this before as we were going through it, but we've got an export option. That we click that export option. It gives us a great file name here that talks about, like what the date is, what the fire we're on, and who is giving this information. So this was Engine 601's map. We can add other information in there or take it out, make it custom so that it makes sense for them. Now we've got a section for format here. Just leave this with KLM or KML. If you've got other GIS assets within the organization, they might request it in a different format, so they can integrate it to larger GIS software kind of in the command center and in the EOCs. So if you need to change that, we just click on here, and there's a couple different types here. Some are locked. Shape files are locked for pro users only, but they should also be able to take a KML file as well. Now down here, there's a little bit more information. We can either take all of the features by clicking on here. So we've got 8 features that we're sending out. If we want to just send out the layers, we've got 9 layers here. Or we can use this custom setting here that sends out, that we can select, and it will send 9 layers and 8 features, or we can customize it. So we can create this, open up this drop down here. If we just wanted to send, the IC center, this entire layer, and for water sources, we don't want to send all the water sources, maybe just the drafting sites to somebody. Well, there's nothing in drafting sites, so let's just send them the hydrant information that we've got. Now when we go back, we're sending a total of 5 custom layers with the 4 features that we've selected, or that they include. So that's a way to really export. You don't have to export everything to someone and clutter their map. If they're just requesting something like the safety zones that you found, or you were told to scout out a helipad and they just want to know the location of that helipad, we can go actually into our feature selection here, and we can find that one single feature that we want to send them, and that's it. We can see here it's in 2 sublayers, and it's just one solid feature that we're sending out to them. Again, here we've got this linked photos tab. So do we want to include the photos? What kind of resolution do we want to send the photos with? So depending on that means that we're going to be giving them to the other person, it might be advantageous to have them smaller or bigger if they want that kind of information. Or if we don't want to send photos at all, we can just click that linked photos, toggle and switch that off. And then metadata is just data about the photograph that you've taken. And then we can hit the export button. And then we have our options here. AirDrop, mail is another great option. Dropbox is probably second to AirDrop because it allows such large files to be transferred. And then the iTunes file sharing, if you're hooked up to a laptop, if you're kind of in a command position or something like that, where you've got access to that, you can do that as well. We can also save this onto our computer, maybe even move it onto a flash drive if you've got that infrastructure sorted out on your iPad. So that's to export a layer. Now there is another option here. We did go access to export this layer directly from these three dots, but there is another feature up here that is an export button. And it's going to prompt us with two other features. Do we want to go through this export process, which is kind of similar to what we just did, or we go directly to AirDrop? If we click the AirDrop specifically, what it's going to do is it's going to change our file name. So we might want to copy and paste that, or retype it out. But it's going to give our file name as the base map, which is what we're working off of. Again, we can select here, and we've got one more option. So we've got all features and map, which is kind of interesting. So if we go into the custom area, we'll be able to either send them this map, this chunk of the map, or not. And then send them the layers. Again, we can select for, individual objects, or we can send the entire stack if we want. Just depends on what we're looking for. But this way here allows us to send the map as well. So most people should be working off a map, but sometimes, some people might not have downloaded the map before they went offline or to an area without service. So this is the ability to send that map. Now, when you buy and purchase a map from the store, it's not your map, and they wouldn't make any money if people just shared maps internally. So for those maps, you might not be able to attach the map and send the map out. They may have to purchase that map themselves and pay for it. But in the case of maps that are provided by an agency or maps that you own, I guess these ones that we downloaded offline, we're able to attach part of those maps because they're open source maps. And that can be really helpful for other people. Again, if they've already got a map, it's just going to make the file size really large. It's going to take more time to transfer. And, if they've already got the map, there's no sense because it's just going to take up room on their device. So that's a little bit about exporting maps to other people. You don't get the functionality that you get with sending just the specific layer out itself. So again, we can go right down to the actual object that we want and export that specific object that we want. Or we can, select that parent layer and then filter it out later. So now you've got the ability to share, to store, collect, share, and review this information and help develop better planning, because you're able to provide that information up the chain, you're able to provide the information down the chain. And again, even when we're in an area without service, we can use AirDrop to move data from one device to the other. You will notice that in our map, we have all of our maps stored here. Again, in our layers tab, we have all our layers here. You can share the layers, from this window as well by, clicking those three dots. Again, we've got that option for export. There's a couple ways to skin the cat on this one, but I find it easier to be into the map that I'm working on, and that way I'm not confusing or, I'm using something that's active, that's current, and then I'm not confusing it with maybe last year's map, or a layer that might not be active.